If God is so loving and powerful, why is there suffering in the world? Doesn't that mean that God isn't powerful or isn't loving or just doesn't exist at all? Hello, my name is Sierra and welcome to my channel, No Excuses. I'm a Christian artist from Papua New Guinea and I make content defending and strengthening the Christian faith. Today I'll be doing my best to respond to a video called The Top 10 Logical Reasons That Prove God Does Not Exist by Crunch on YouTube. If you want to watch it, the link is in the description of the video. I'm only responding to the first one, or number 10 in this video, and I'm planning to respond to the rest in further videos.
Number 10. Poorly designed universe. Don't the theists say that God is perfect and the creator of the universe? Well then, why did he design the universe and his babies in such poor fashion? We weren't in a hurry to land on Earth. We could have stayed in his creation lab for some more time, if only to become refined beings. If God exists, and it's him who has created us with diseases and malfunctions, do we have a reason to worship him?
Before we start, I'd like to point out that I'm changing his question slightly. I'm making a bit of a jump from poorly designed universe and children to life not being perfect, or suffering exists. This is because I do not believe this is a good argument because 1. The universe isn't poorly designed, and 2. Evolutionists also need to answer the question why babies are the way they are. Maybe when I finish the series, I will answer the question, why did God make babies the way they are, but not right now. In researching this topic, I found a sermon by John MacArthur called Why Does God Allow So Much Suffering and Evil? Its link will also be in the description. He pointed out there seems to be 3 different types of pain or suffering in this world, but since I failed to take notes, I've had to come up with my own terms for them. There is first natural suffering. These are things that happen out of our control and often affect large amounts of people. A flood destroys a village, a disease wipes out a whole community, a child is crippled from birth by cerebral palsy. This type of suffering is usually the hardest to explain. It seems unjust, undeserved. The second type of suffering I'll call reciprocal. It's getting paid back for a sin or a bad decision you've committed. A murderer gets the death sentence, a thief goes to jail, a brawler gets punched back. The third type of suffering is spiritual. Forces of evil are capable of attacking people, more or less subtly. They can affect our spiritual, emotional, and mental health, but also sometimes physical. Now, there's no way to get around God letting these things happen, unless you sacrifice a true perspective of who he is. Either he is not as powerful or loving as he says, right? God says he's good, but tell that to a child whose dad just walked out. It's a hard question, but one every Christian needs to answer. How I answer is by reminding people of one of God's qualities that often gets overlooked. His perfect justice. To explain what I mean, we need to go all the way back to the beginning, 6,000 or so years ago in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve ate of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. This was committing a sin, since they were clearly disobeying God's only command to them, do not eat of the fruit. Because of this, God threw them out of paradise, but also, he said, cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat of it all the days of your life. You can read the rest in Genesis 3. This curse didn't just apply to farming, it applied to all aspects of life. Because Adam sinned, life would be hard and painful, and all of it will ultimately end in death. That's how big of a deal sin is to God. Because of our sinning, the side effects of the fall and the curse are not undeserved. God is justified in natural suffering. Reciprocal suffering is only a product of man's ability to do right or wrong. Because God allows the freedom of choice that people may choose to follow him, there are also side effects, and sometimes those side effects seem to target innocent people. But, as I mentioned, there are no innocent people in the grand scheme of things. We have all sinned, so God is justified in reciprocal suffering. Since spiritual suffering could probably take up its own video, and I probably will get around to doing that at some point, I'm not going to spend too much time on it here. I just want to mention that it is a huge aspect of life that many people ignore, even Christians ignore it. So now I've proved that suffering is not unjust on God's part. It's still a downer though. You can't tell someone in the middle of suffering it's really their fault. And how does this knowledge help anyone? Well, I have 2 pieces of good news. The first is that God excels at turning evil into good. When I was hit by a car at 8 years old, God used me as a witness of forgiveness to the woman who hit me. When I lost my pet cat, the dearest thing to me at that time, it helped me fall on and hold on to Jesus rather than a cat. God can teach you through pain, and he'll never leave you if you hold on to him. The second piece of good news is the good news, what the whole Bible and all of history was leading up to, Jesus. One of my religious studies teachers told me that Jesus is God's answer to pain. Jesus came down to earth to suffer as one of us. He lived a painful life and died a painful death. Even though the curse is our fault, Jesus came. God stepped under the curse to save us. Now death isn't the end, as proven by Jesus rising to life again. Every tear will be wiped away and suffering will end in heaven. On top of that, God's Holy Spirit makes the current difficulties bearable. By no means does God remove suffering from those that follow him. Just ask the martyrs. But he makes bearing them worthwhile. I hope I've helped you understand this question better. If you liked the video, please tell me by clicking the thumbs up down below. This helps more people see the video. If you have any questions or objections, please tell me by leaving a comment. This is only my second video, and I'm still learning. It's possible I messed something up or forgot something. If you have any ideas for future videos, please tell me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.